actually better to reward their efforts. Oh, you worked very hard. You tried very hard at that. And the children that get that kind of feedback actually perform much better academically, athletically, whatever it is that they're doing, because it's more important that we engage, liberate, learn, and grow. Otherwise, we just try to keep at the same level. So I'm hoping you have big, huge growth mindsets and help each other with that. And ultimately, we want to stay with their minds lit up this way, revelating and acting on that revelating with liberating.
Okay, thanks, Judith. So we're on transformational leadership. The transformational leader stays in touch with deeper yearnings. And we've had a more in-depth conversation than I had anticipated about how those yearnings look at different levels of development and how they manifest, I should say how they manifest at different levels of development and different circumstances in life. All transformational leaders, no matter what the level, must engage. They must also discover things they would not have known otherwise. They must also allow their employees to engage and discover things they wouldn't have known. And they must do things they would not have otherwise done. This is where innovation happens. This is where companies grow. This is where they transform. This is where individuals must grow and transform with their companies. One of the sad things we see with many corporate leaders is they don't move with the corporation's technological changes. They don't move with the other changes the companies make, and they are lost. We're now moving to the most difficult part of transformational leadership. This is the rematrixing. Rematrixing is a complex process with many different strategic moves necessary to effectuate true transformation. So how many of you are on Windows in your computer? Windows? Okay, how many love the Windows changes when they go to 5 to 6 and 6 to 7, 7 to 8? You love it? Oh, I like go back to kindergarten all over again each time that happens. It forces me. That is growth. Rematrixing is going to a completely different operating system. It's Unix. It would be going to Unix. It would be going to the next level. Rematrixing is not an improvement and a refinement on what we have. It requires all of the things we've talked about, but we must do it very, very consistently. Most of what people try to do in corporations and change is rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic. Okay, we all know what that led to. When instead, what they need to do is to transform the form of transportation to a completely different way of moving in the world. Where rematrixing requires huge technical ability, analytic ability. It requires huge dedication, consistent engagement, because we changing who I am and how I operate. If any of you have, the first time I dieted, it was really easy. I don't think many of you have the issue I have. But the second and the third times it got harder and harder. And there's a reason for that, because I actually had reinforced my original programs more effectively when I went back to them. The old matrix is always seeking to burst through. No matter what change you do, the old matrix never goes away. But you can build new neural pathways. Building those new neural pathways is essential. It requires what Judith's going to talk to you about, deep, hard practice. It also requires a keen ability to analyze what the matrix is, to honestly tell yourself about what you're doing. It's like changing the course. I won't even talk about changing the course of the Ganges. This is Mississippi, because that would be sacrilege. But if you wanted to change the, I want you to get how hard this is, because people too often figure, well, I did this once and I'm going to change it again. Managers we coach constantly are getting angry because people don't do what they tell them to. If you're a manager and you want a minor change in procedure, you have to expect that you're going to communicate it 7 times minimum. That is your job. You are transforming a minor, just how people file one thing. You may have to tell them 7 times. And I used to get so mad at my staff, I thought they were just trying to make me fail. And instead of what I finally realized was, if they weren't messing up, I wouldn't have a job. Think about it. Think about it. So if I wouldn't change the course of the Mississippi, I understand the Mississippi for a second. And I want to get some water running off another direction. This is what we do. The first time we have a new behavior, we say, oh, I'm great, I've done all this new stuff, it's fantastic. Well, if I want to keep that water running, I'm going to have to keep digging over and over and over and over again until I can get a viable water course that is digging its own channel. Even though I have a viable water course digging its own channel, it will revert to the Mississippi if I do not maintain it and continue developing. Rematrixing is a must-do always. So the transformational leader must continue this process. And you have to have many different strategic moves. Too often, I would love to get into some case studies on this with you, but I'm sure you can get into it. Beautiful things corporations have done that never came to fruition because they didn't know how to consistently engage in new behavior over and over and over again. One of the biggest mistakes I have made as an entrepreneur is to think I was winning. So I get something great going, I figure, I relax, bam, we're right back to where we were before. Judith's going to tell you the neuroscience of rematrixing.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm wondering, I don't think we have to rematrix everything. I think we have